champion. I didn't see you there. Come here. Eldon Shi, it is good to see you. You'll have to forgive me for rushing through the formalities, but I've just been so enamored in this book that I have been reading. You see, back when we were under Neltharion's control, it was always train, train, train. Train, train, train. We never had much time to relish in the arts, you could say. Enrich the mind might be a better word. I have had so much time on my claws lately. In between saving Azeroth, of course. I'm humble, I promise. I've had so much time that I decided I wanted to catch up on all of the histories that I have missed. And yet, when I began to look into those histories, I found myself looking more and more into stories of fiction. Tales from far off in worlds unlike our own. But oh, so similar. This one has had me. This is a story about an unexpected journey. An unexpected journey. It is the tale of someone who I understand they're like a gnome, but not a gnome, but also not quite a dwarf. Not as hardy, but incredibly light on his feet. And he is on a quest to help these 13 dwarves reclaim their ancestral home. It reminds me of what I was sprung into when I first awoke not too long ago. The Dragon Isles awakening. The aspects returning. and our fight to defend and reclaim that which was ours. Home. Now, these dwarves, of course, their ancestral home lies in a mountain. And in that mountain they found so much gold. So much gold, and a jewel as precious. As precious. As precious. As the very stars itself. They called it the heart of the mountain. This attracted a great fire-breathing dragon. This dragon, of course, took the dwarves home from them. The dwarves lost this stone in the mountains of gold. And for many, many, many years, this dragon slept within these great dwarvish halls. Within these great mountains of gold, until our merry band of adventurers, a halfling, a wizard, and 13 noble dwarves come in and reclaim their home. Unfortunately, this means they had to evict said dragon, and I can tell you firsthand that I believe this dragon was justified, okay? You wouldn't like it either if someone snuck into your home and woke you up. So the dragon wakes up, and he goes and unleashes his torrent of hellfire down upon this town, while our adventurers stare on hopelessly. But that's okay, because there is a man in this town who I believe, and if you know the story better, feel free to tell me, but be nice. He was a descendant of one of the first people to encounter this dragon in this beautiful town. And by no amount of luck, I'm sure, he slayed this poor dragon. Of course, the story doesn't end there. But for me it does. Oh, those gnomes. Goblins playing around on their mecha bikes. Is that what they call them? mega bikes. So distracting when I'm just trying to read some nice stories to my friend. My champion. My broodmate. My broodmate. The story doesn't end there. But for me it does, because it makes me sad. I'm kidding. I mean, it does make me sad, but I continue reading. It's okay. I know, it's a good story. The librarian, well, I actually found it in the Azure archives. Centurion could not recommend it anymore. Another book that I've come across that is really one of my favorites, especially because of how short and sweet it is. It's about a girl, a little girl. A little blonde hair, blue dress, living in an ordinary world. One so incredibly unlike our own. Where, walking among dragons and dwarves, and even fuzzy little creatures like you, fuzzy little cuties like you, is all but a fairy tale. She follows a white rabbit into a hole where she falls and falls and falls, straight through the center of the earth. In a way, much like we do, passing through the core way. Only she didn't have a mount. To ease her fall. She drinks a little potion that has the label, "Drink me." And only then does she think maybe it was poison. Thankfully, it wasn't, and it only shrunk her size. She goes on to adventure in this Wonderland, where she meets many, many characters. My favorite in particular is a cat. Cat, 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 kitty. Whose smile is like the crescent of a waxing or waning moon. I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat. It's the most curious thing I ever saw in my life. It's a smaller book. Plenty of pictures, but one of my favorite fairy tales, if you could call it one. She too encounters a dragon. It's not a very attractive one, if that's not too harsh to say. I'm used. Yeah. I'm talking too much. This dragon is known as the Jabberwocky. And there's even a poem that goes with it. And of course, this brave young little girl she manages to slay this beast. And it's my thorough belief that this dragon was evil. But maybe the Red Queen, who claimed a type of lordship over it, made him that way. And the only way that this little girl was able to slay it was with a sword called Vorpal. 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 It's a fun word to say. The Vorpal sword. The Vorpal blade. That is one dragon that I don't mind missing. Do you like it when I tap them? But when I scratch them? These books are kept in beautiful condition by me, mind you. So every time I open them, I get that lovely, 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 fresh book smell. You know the one. I suppose I can tell you 2 more stories that I have pulled from the Azure archives. Now this one in particular is quite the epic. living a humble life. Believe it's with his uncle. One day, as he's out in the forest, he finds something magical. He finds a large blue egg. He doesn't want it to get cold and to perish, so he brings it home with him, hides it in his blankets and laundry. Now, he thought it was just a gem, a stone, because it had such a radiant sapphire color to it. But one day, to his surprise, it hatched, and a pair of sapphire gem-like eyes staring back at him. He reached forward to interact with said creature, to calm it, to be friends with it. And when he touched it, he received a most beautiful blessing. A silver palm. A silver palm. This marked him as this dragon's rider. Together, they grew. They grew and grew and grew. They grew so strong together, so close, so inseparably bonded. Now, a far more sinister machination was afoot. For in the place where he lived, there was an evil king. This king wanted all of the dragon's power to himself. And so, this boy and his dragon were hunted. Eventually, they found a brief moment of respite within some dwarven caverns. And personally, this was really funny to me, because I have yet to see the aspects party hard, as I've heard say. But this beautiful sapphire dragon drinks so much dwarven ale. And gets so intoxicated off of it. And was a much softer, lighter side of herself. Eventually, these two and their company, they met an elf who the boy grew an attraction to. You know, me being a dragon, I would personally choose to stay with the dragon, but yeah. Elves are pretty too, but, the Sapphire dragon is much more pretty than an elf, but, eventually, they find their way to the elven forest, hidden deep out of the eyes of the evil king, where they meet another dragon, this one with golden scales. The rider and this dragon agree to help train the boy and his sapphire dragon in the ways of the rider. Tragically, in a battle between the evil king, his black dragon, and this golden dragon and his rider, tragically, they were both slain. But there was a great secret that was bestowed upon the boy and his sapphire dragon. The golden dragon gave his heart of hearts, to them. A giant golden gem in which a dragon's consciousness and power lies. After many adventures and training and great battles, eventually our sapphire rider claims victory over the evil king, slaying him and bringing peace to the land. Of course, there are many details that I have left out. Maybe I have spoken too much, potentially spoiling this story for you, should you choose to read it. I would highly recommend it. Why, in another life, if I would have read these when I was far younger, in a life more mundane, turned me into a dragon. The pages are still so fresh and crispy and new. A testament to how much care Centurion put into the Azure archives. This last book is one that I do especially hold close to my heart and to me at all times. I may have briefly mentioned it last time I saw you. But you may have been asleep, which is okay. This one is bound and locked by a gem in the shape of a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse. Cindercosa told me that it fell from the sky. That it fell in a mighty streak of darkness. Shadows falling behind it. The bronze dragons did their best to find the origin of where it came from, time-wise. She and the other members of the Blue Flight tried to determine what the magic was that was on it. Even more mysterious, the magic that was on it. It seemed to pulse, 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 with a repeating pattern, repeating They knew not what it meant, what it was for, where it came from, how and why. The magic seems to just send waves, ripples, tingle, tingles, tingles, in a beautiful repetition down your body. Even the great Kirantor of Dalaran, they were unable to crack this code. It was tinged with the void, but not the void that we know. For in the void that we know, there exists but this one. This one felt lonely, cold, empty, a void in the truest meaning. Nothing. It baffled them all. And yet, the story within it was enough to make Centricosa keep it. Perplexed by the ever-changing pages, perplexed by the ever-present consistence. She felt it too curious to get rid of, to destroy. It tells of a world, again, much like our own. In this world lay 7 Centurions, each of them a commander of 100 hundreds. 100 soldiers under their command, protecting their land, protecting the peace and prosperity around them. Mysteriously, within the shadows of the night, they disappeared. The Centurions, their armies, gone. Except for one, the 7th Centurion. It is a mystery how he survived. His name fades into a whisper on the wind, a legend, an old wives' tale. For when all of the Centurions fell, darkness claimed the world. Evil spread to the farthest reaches. A mighty shadow was cast over the sun. The moon ran red with blood. Fires rage all around. And with what light there remains, darkness reaches forth from the ground, up, up, up into the sky, wanting to squeeze the last remaining bit of light that dares shine in the sky. This seventh centurion swore vengeance on the darkness that swallowed his armies, his friends. Unfortunately, his life is a tragic one, for it is revealed that he was simply the right man in the wrong place. For much like this book, he too fell from the sky, stripped and thrown from his world of origin, the name of which has been lost to time. Any time it seems as if you're going to read the name of his home, the words shift on the pages. It always seems wrong, but it always leads back to the great war that he served in, that place that he called home within this imprisonment. He called it Troy. It tells us throughout his life, his dark origins, how he was born with monstrous wings, black and with leather, his eyes like daggers, sharp slits like a dragon's, fangs sharper than any blade. As a boy, he would go to his school and be mocked and laughed at. When he would return home, his parents were always fighting. He never seemed to fit in to anything in the day, but he always felt the most peace in the dark hours of the night, relishing in the light of the moon and the stars. He felt home. One night, he outstretched his hand, and the shadows sprung to life. He created friends from these shadows that he would dance and play with all through the dark, gloriously luminescent hours of the night. One night, as he was mourning, the pain of wanting to be accepted, to be in a place where he belonged, resting on a stump in this dark forest. The goddess of the moon came down. The goddess herself came down and adopted him, anointed him as her son and rightful heir. She took him into their castle, where he found that there were many, many, many others like him. Leathery wings, sharp fangs, dragon-like eyes, like mine. No, I'm not this character. He grew quickly. He grew powerful in his shadowmancy. And at a ripe young age, still barely an adult, just out of his teenage years, he earned the title and rank Centurion of her army. With his power, he, the armies of the night, and Mother Moon herself would overthrow the tyrannical rule of the day. For it was the day who oppressed them, kept them bound, unwilling to change their ways, to help them, to make friends with them. Unfortunately, they lost. He banished to this prison world, stripped of his wings that he felt such great pride in. His mother banished, not to the same world, but elsewhere, up into the heavens of space. In this new prison world, keeping the peace as a centurion of 100 hundreds. His soldiers were destroyed, consumed by darkness. The soldiers of his other centurion, consumed by darkness. He met a raven. This raven was no ordinary raven. She was a dragon in disguise. She vowed that the centurion would be grounded no more, never again. If only he swore to destroy the one who slayed and hunted all of her kind. With wings renewed, he soared to this vile queen's castle, where he once again fought her, this time with tooth and claw. And I say this time because he had a run-in with her once upon a time, much early on in his imprisonment. She was the one who stripped him of his wings, tore them off with her own bare hands, and kept them in a glass case as a trophy, marking her victory over the Centurion. She had him imprisoned, where he served as a slave. Eventually, he broke out and began his own series of adventures, overcoming the darkness around him and within it. this second battle, with the raven by his side, his old wings returned to him. However, he was unable to defeat this queen and her soldiers. His wings, his body broken, beaten, bruised, cast out into the mires below this castle. There he mourned, rain pouring down on him as he felt that he was nearing his final breath. But then, a thunderous boom breaks open the sky, and a rainbow shone in the sky. In his time of imprisonment, he only ever saw a rainbow once before. Now, the tail end of this rainbow was in front of him. He began to crawl to it, and when he reached it, all of the pain went away. His wings sprouted and carried him on top of this rainbow. And he flew into space, into the far, deep reaches of space, so far that the stars themselves began to disappear, until there was nothing. A void. As he flew, floating across this rainbow bridge, a colossal golden mirror lay before him, the rainbow being swallowed into the reflection. He placed his hand upon his reflection, and from underneath him, the rainbow fell away. His body, he could feel it broken again. His wings stopped flapping and fell limp to his side. The cuts, the bruises, the broken bones, all reminding him that they were still there. And he began to fall backwards, down, 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 down. Into this world, returning to the world that he called home. For when he awoke, there was no more darkness. He saw the face of his mother. does this story end here? For once again, he has to learn, relearn. His mastery over shadow. But I can see that you have fallen asleep. Thank you for listening to some of these stories, champion. I hope they bring you rest, and I cannot wait to tell you what happens next. Fair skies and fair winds, may you dream verdant, verdant, verdant dreams, and of emerald, 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 emerald wings. Balanchi, thank you so much for all of your support. A big, 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 big shout